So before we start, do you have any pressing questions, like something you simply don't know how to confront? Is there like a specific area you want us to target?
I think the biggest thing for me is I have this TvP all in. It works extremely well, or at least it did.
Hmm.
When I was in Diamond, I mean, it would just smush every Protoss. But Masters, it doesn't work so well, and so I was hoping you might be able to help me out. It's basically just like a one base all in ridiculous cheese.
Yeah, we can help refine it, improve it.
Yeah, like that would be great. And then I guess the other thing would be like in the TvZ matchup,
Hmm.
doing the safe opening that you describe on YouTube and on your stream sometimes. I tend to lose to like a either like a big roach push. I don't have a replay for it. I think it aged off. Sometimes I will lose to that to like a big roach push or like a roach ling feint ling all in, and I'm not sure how to hold it because it seems like in the replays that I watch, I just don't have anywhere near the army spending of the Zerg when this attack hits. So I don't know how to hold it.
Okay. Um, for the Terran against Zerg, that one can easily be answered with a question. Or, I mean, with a simple response. If you're doing the specific opening, after you get the two Widow Mines, you can go straight into a single siege tank and drop an extra bunker a little bit farther back, and then that should automatically allow you to hold it. Just the two Widow Mines in the siege tank, and then extra Marines and bunkers, and then try to repair it. Should give you, if you're having a lot of issues with this, should give you a lot more durability. Siege tanks, you can use them to target fire than the Banelings, and that should ultimately really raise your ability to defend against it a lot.
Is there like a is there something I should be scouting for in particular? Do you think with these builds? Or do they have? I don't know anything about Zerg. Do they have like key timings or times I could send out look for a third or something like that to indicate that this thing is on the way?
Yeah, so a Baneling bus can reach your base. A good Baneling bus can reach your base at about 7 minutes. Actually, I think 6 minutes. No, speed comes out at 6 minutes and 13 seconds. Depending on how fast they get it, if they mess up or if they're playing a little greedy. So about 6 minutes, 13 seconds is when they attain map control. And usually the roaches will hit your base in between 7 minutes and 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So one of the things I like to do is either have an SUV on patrol a little bit outside of my base to get a little early advantage, or to automatically just send one towards him to see what's coming my way, if anything is coming my way, around the 7 minute mark. You can also scan the natural at the 7 minute mark, or about 6:45, and you can see how many drones he has. Maybe he's got his roach warren there, and you can see what units are popping out of the eggs.
I see. So would I expect if I scan the net at like 7 minutes or 6:30, am I expecting to see significant undersaturation, or is this kind of
You should be able to see if they're macroing properly at the 6 minute 45 seconds 7 minute mark. You should be able to see almost full saturation on the second base.
okay?
So you're looking for like in between 14 to 18 drones
Excellent.
mining.
Excellent.
And then you can
So,
also one of the things that you can do is that you scout the gases. So if they have more gases in their natural, you can expect a bust. If you're not quite sure, look how many gases they have. If they have both gases, you can go, okay, so it's very gas heavy, most likely roach baneling, because they only need 2 gases for the roaches, but they need 3 for roach baneling. So you know that the natural is gonna need it.
that's excellent. That's very good. Thank you. All right. Okay, so yeah, why don't we? I think the more pressing thing for me is TvP. So I have this replay of this thing failing miserably.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if it needs to be refined or if it needs to be just sort of thrown out because, like I said, it's a one base all in, which used to work wonderfully.
Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. Give me host in here, or that's fine. No, that's okay. We'll just play it with like a ×2 at the start so I can get a quick look over the build.
Alright.
Most aggression against Protoss has been shut down a little bit in the early stages. You can overcome the mothership core with a really heavy aggression, but it's difficult in specific situations. So let's see what we have to work with and what's been shutting it down.
And I'll note for the benefit of anybody watching, this seems to get hard countered by Proxy Oracle, and DT shut it down pretty hard.
Okay. That gives me a pretty good idea of some of the twists you can make.
Okay. And this guy just kind of beast modes his way through it. Oh, dude, hold on.
Okay.
This is actually the wrong recap. I have
Alright.
2 failures. Sorry. Well, that's this way I can give you a host.
Yeah, that's true. Nah, it's more than fun.
Where are they? Multiplayer. There we go. TvP.
Yeah, go!
I was like, that map doesn't look right. Host.
There we go. Alright, let's take a look. So I'm gonna go through it a little fast, and then we can always go back through the beginning. I'm looking for, like, key things at the start. Get a really good idea of what's going on, and then we can go into further detail.
Alright.
So, just take a quick look at your build order. And then I'll point out little things if I see anything while we speed through it. We'll go back.
Oops.
I don't like your barracks positioning. The only reason for that being is that if you put it here, like all your production facilities, Blink
Yeah.
Stalkers, when they come up, they can like come up here and be straight in your production. So if you put them back here on this map, they have to. You can like defend your production and your mineral line and your command center with like 3 bunkers, instead of having to like just straight in a row. Put one by your gas, right next to it, one by your minerals, and then one a little bit out further to the edge. Will protect everything. So on this map, you'll see me put all my production a little bit farther back for that reason. So just a little quick thing. So I see Tech Lab, Reactor.
This one.
So that does a little bit of damage. Let me lower my sound because it's way up. Kill the mothership core, great.
Yeah.
That could pretty much be your cue to all in them right there.
Yeah, I thought you know what? When I did that, I was like, oh, GG, I win, but it doesn't turn out that way.
So this is like a 1-on-1 with an extra reactor. So I'm very familiar with this. I do this a lot, except for the extra reactor. I get 1 reactor. Alright. Here's your mistake. You're very far ahead in this game, except for one thing. Since there are only so many mineral patches, and since you have so much gas, you could easily put the 3 SCVs from one geyser mining minerals, keep making SCVs and dropping mules, and contain him. Doing the contain will make it impossible for him to get his expansion. The only way he could, get out is if he gets like a warp prism. You just keep an eye on the robotics facility with your medevac. You keep the tanks in the back. You put like 2 bunkers down in front, and you just sit there. There's absolutely no pressure to push in. So the thing that 1-on-1 is designed to punish is expansions, So if they don't go for an expansion, it's really hard for you to get the kill. But if they do, your goal is to kill the expansion and bunker down. And after you've dropped like 2 or 3 bunkers, you can even send all of your other SCVs back, sit there, expand, and play safe, and just let whatever unit is sitting outside of his base, just, if he decides to push out, they're the ones who are going to handle it, because your goal is to delay his expansion. Now yours is to get yours up. You can go for the killing blow, but it's much safer just setting up a fortress, retreating your SCVs, and just playing a normal game, and he'll be way behind, because trying to break through your bunkers, he'll lose a lot of stuff. He may break out, and that's fine. His expansion will be really late. You have mules, his main will be mined out, so he'll still be on one base. So that's one thing that I noticed right now. So you don't quite have to move up the ramp.
Duly noted.
I like what you're doing here. You're unsieging 2 tanks though, that's a mistake. You're also moving your tanks to this side, that's also a problem. You can see that most of his production facility is on the left side of his base. So you can get siege tanks around this gas geyser, and then bunkers up front, and then lift right on top. So you can put a bunker but close to his robotics facility in that pylon up there. And that'll put it on a much tighter squeeze on him. Then, because you're putting your positioning and you're dropping in kind of an open area, So by doing that, you allow him to get a little bit easier of a surround, and by having both siege tanks unsieged, if they weren't, if you only took one at a time, one of them would still be firing really good right now. So that's just a little bit bad positioning on that part. You're sieging up, which is great, but this also kind of exposes your tanks, because now his immortals can shoot at them. Still doing an okay hold though. You're repairing the tank, that's great. You're sending reinforcements, great. I like the Viking. You're a little low on minerals. Once again, you can, cut some of the workers. And I think part of the problem is you're trying to like push up the ramp right now. You don't have to be too concerned with pushing up the ramp. You target firing the immortal, that's great. Seems like you're gonna win this game.
Yeah, I think he just gets like 1 or 2 rounds of weapons that do me in.
Alright, so I would say right now the biggest thing that's causing you to lose a lot is when you're up there, your tanks aren't in the proper position to where they're actually firing on the units every time he engages you. So that's what seems to be killing you. So you're moving both at the time again, and that's a bit of a mistake, but you're moving into the right position. That does make it harder for reinforcements to come up though. But you're in a great position now, it's just that you lost quite a bit of units, just not being in the proper setup. So like, as an example, let's go back a little bit. So you're doing pretty good, and this will stomp a lot of low masters. So let's go to the spot where you're trying to get the contain up. Alright, so actually you still have some more. Give it a second longer. Hold on. Before you try to... Oh. So I'm gonna play the turn for just a second and show you my perspective. Don't try to attack or anything. I'm just gonna, you don't have to be concerned about that because that might mess you up because you're probably not used to Protoss. But I'll show you the perfect positioning on this map that you want this to be in. Okay?
Okay.
So this will be your goal. Give me just 1 second. Alright, so I'm gonna say exactly what I'm doing. Just build an observer real fast. So I'm gonna hold position, just build an observer and fly it over my army and you can see everything. I'm not moving anything at all.
Alright, it's building.
Okay.
Got no photo.
Open up!
That's
I
weird.
got your stuff!
I think it's prone when it's overcharged. I don't know that.
Okay, so just waiting for your observer.
Okay, it's in place.
Alright, so yeah, you can see everything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna siege the one here. This one's kind of close to the edge. So I'm gonna move it back. Units in front. Now I can move this one. I'm not making any more units, this is just the positioning. I'm gonna move this one here. Now I'm gonna like position at the bottom of the ramp so he can't move up. I get this one in here. And then drop the Marines up here. And then hug this side. So now what he has to do is kind of come close to the ramp. So he can force field it, but some of my units can still shoot when he moves like past his robotics facility. My tanks are in position, like try to attack into this. So you can see I'm just holding position. There's a huge buffer. All my siege tanks are firing wherever you're trying to go. There's absolutely no concern on my part. I'm not even microing. I'm just using my siege tanks to focus fire your army. And it's impossible for you to break this right now. Like, most of my units aren't even firing. I mean, you can definitely, like, go up the ramp a little bit. So, as long as the siege tanks are firing, you're fine. You clean it up a little bit. You send more stuff up. And then you just kind of, like, create a contain. So I can put a bunker here. I can lift up. Put a bunker here. And then, if he tries to stop these, the siege tanks will fire. The one on the low ground is a bit exposed. But that's, not a problem. One siege tank will at least fire, and you're trading minerals, not units, for shots, for damage. So, you can, like, I'm sending the rest of these back. And now, you get yourself in a position where if you get in these bunkers, the siege tanks are the last thing that are going to get hit. He's got to get past all these units. You're in a great position. And then the beauty of this spot is you can unsiege one tank from the back. You know, you don't want to do 2 at a time, but I'm just doing this so it's just because of the position. So I move 1 closer to that bunker, and then I move 1 siege tank right here. And then once he's in position, you want to get your units in front of it. So now your siege tank can hit the mineral line and its gas. And you've got bunkers up, all 3 siege tanks are in a great spot. Only 1 is vulnerable, and by trying to get him, you move past 2 bunkers that are firing a bunch of units, and 2 other tanks, of course. And you're even firing upon all of his gateways, so he's completely exposed. You're effectively blocking out 2 shots, and you can poke in, move back, poke in, move back, you know, just take a few shots at his mineral line, move up. And this way you can just choke him out, and back home you could be expanding, you could do everything. It's just, he really feels the pressure here to attack into you, you know?
I like it.
So, but by going in this direction, you leave yourself, so like from here, this angle, okay, the only way he can attack you is from this gas geyser up, which will, you know, the edge right here will be hit by the bunker, all siege tanks will be firing on this location, or you can try to engage you from here, which is a choke, a funnel, and here, which is a choke, a funnel. So either way, he's kind of being funneled through, but if you try to lift up here, he's got this whole arc to work with, and it'll be a lot easier for him to trade efficiently. And, you know, it's like, it takes a lot more bunkers to cover that area effectively. And then, you know, you're not really pressuring his mineral line, just his production facility. And it's workers he doesn't want to lose because you're expanding back home. So yeah. Do you kind of see what you could have done different, or do you understand
Oh, yeah,
it?
absolutely.
Okay. So.
Would they save like a second replay when you take over like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I will study it.
Yeah, it definitely should have saved for you. It'll be like under recent games played, and you just fast forward. It'll be like the whole game, and you fast forward, and then it'll suddenly bring it to HTOMario has taken over X at like 15-minute mark or something.
Great.
Alright, let's go ahead and leave this game. So with the one-on-one with the positioning with the bunkers and the siege tanks is the same thing as Mech. You always want to funnel the opponent. It's the same thing in everything though. You always want to funnel the opponent. That's like your primary goal with how you set up. If he attacks in here, are more of my units gonna shoot and are less of his? So do you have any other games like do you? I feel like you probably understand how to execute that a little bit better now.
Yeah, and I was wondering though, is that like, you know, is that I feel like I was coming to kind of like a skill ceiling with it, whereas like, you know, it has several just straight up hard counters, and I've never really played late game against Protoss for like a year because I just lose to like Storms and Colossus and stuff. I can't micro very well, so I thought, you know, like a mech approach might be better because it seems like it focuses a little bit less on micro, and I'm kind of a low APM player.
Yeah, for the lower the APM, the more of an improvement Mech will be. It's all about pre-positioning before the fight. You still have to do some micro and stuff, but not nearly as much. And one of the things I wanted to bring up is that if for like Dark Templar or Engineering Bay, you can actually not make a reactor on your second barracks, and that'll give you a few extra minerals. And then at the 7-minute or 6-minute 45-second mark, about that, you just drop an Engineering Bay, and this will make you safe against Dark Templar. And against the Oracle, you can get like one single Widow Mine first, and put it in your mineral line, and then keep on building the tanks. This does slow down your push a little bit, but the Widow Mine will also help out your push in stopping Immortals. Because it's like an EMP, you know, you just put it down in the front.
Okay.
You can, to be like really safe and you don't want to get the Widow Mine, make sure that you get the Engineering Bay around 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
That's pretty early.
That it is early. I've done it before too, actually. Even after I've expanded, I've gone like barracks, command center, factory, Engineering Bay, just to be safe, if I don't want to make a lot of Widow Mines.
Alright, well, like I said, as far as a TvP replays, basically everyone looks exactly like that.
Okay.
because I do one build and it works pretty well.
Hey, as long as it works, eventually you'll hit a skill cap with it, but the higher you up you go, you could even. Though I know that Puma played professionally with the 111 for ages, and it's got a little bit easier to defend, and it's got a little bit easier to do because you don't need to get siege mode. So it still works at higher levels. It'll still help you get past this matchup for, until you're like high masters. Then you're gonna hit a lot of issues with it. Not a lot of people do it anymore, so you could catch people off guard. But the people who know it's coming, it's gonna give them time to prepare, and they'll just go, okay.
Alright, well, let's see. I've got this kind of long-ish TvT, so that's another matchup that's probably my second worst, I guess. You'd say TvT is the worst, TvT would be in the middle.
Okay.
So I have this one which we can watch. I don't honestly remember if it's a win or a loss, but it's long, so it might be interesting.
Okay.
Certainly, you could give me pointers and stuff. The build that I use in TvT was actually copied from one of your replays from the pack you released like two packs ago.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, because you actually lost, and I was like, wow, I think I beat you, so I'm gonna copy his build.
Yeah.
But obviously, I copied it my amateurish way.
Well, let's take a look.
All right.
Oh, give me a host.
Done.
Okay, let's go ahead and check this out. SK Terran.
Yeah, I guess he's probably sponsored by SK Telco.
Could be a Smurf name. I mean, it could just be a person who decided to do that to intimidate others.
That would be my guess.
I wouldn't imagine you would face too many pro gaming Terrans.
You're saying you don't find pros at like rank 7, 8 masters? I find that hard to believe.
No, I'm just saying that, you just barely hit masters, and they're probably grandmaster within a few games, so.
Yeah, I was just dismayed.
So this is Command Center, okay. I was like, I don't see an SCV moving up, but it looks like a Command Center. I'd skip the 3rd Marine until after you have the depot down, because you supply yourself with SCVs. The double gas, very good. Maybe even go into two barracks, but if you're facing a lot of Reapers, it's something I would do.
Yeah, Reapers give me trouble sometimes.
Yeah, so after you drop like the command center down, you can go into 2 barracks, unless you're going mech.
I am definitely.
Okay.
Bio is not my friend. Yeah, basically I believe I stop at 6 Marines. I don't think I build anymore. It's basically to stop this kind of nonsense.
Yeah, 6 Marines is a good number.
Or I create 2 more, just because.
It's not that bad to get 2 more. It doesn't hurt to get like 1 widow mine out and, close to your bunker. Or near your mineral line, just in case. Like the army. So this is Hellbat drops then, yeah?
It kind of looks that way.
It looks like it so far, because normally you would get the armory before the starport. This is because then you can already make Hellbats for defense. You should also get if you're going Hellbat drops, you should also get a engineering bay around the 6-minute 45-second mark. Because the Banshee can be in your base at 7 minutes, but it won't have cloak until about 7:30. So this gives you time to deal with the Banshee, and then once it has cloak, you're good. Second factory's okay, timing. So you're doing pretty good with this. I don't like where you're placing the widow mines. I would put like 1 down here, and then 1 kind of up here in the middle, just in case he tries to get your production. And if you know that there are cloak banshees, you definitely always want to drop an engineering bay, or get a raven immediately, but you still want to drop an engineering bay.
Yeah, it just seems like common sense when you put it that way.
Yeah, it makes you safer, so if you try to do a push out, or you don't have to spend scans, because the point of the Cloak Banshee isn't to get kills, it's to force scans so you lose minerals. It's every scan you use, it's like you lose 4 SCVs for 30 seconds. And if
These
it,
guys get kills in the ambush.
yeah, so even better.
You just
It's
went-
actually crippling you a lot. You're still ahead, which is strange. Oh, you just did a drop. Okay, I'm like, where are all these SCVs?
Why are you not dead?
Yeah. So Hellbat drops, pretty good.
I actually won a game with a single Hellbat drop one time.
It happens. They can be quite strong.
Yeah.
It's up to the player to really defend them, and the higher up you go, the easier it is to stop them. But I don't like the double missile turret there. Maybe like one missile turret in your mineral lines, and then just like one at the edge there. So you need to like move the bottom one. He's playing pretty good, this SK Terran.
Must be how you got that sponsorship.
I mean, I like his setup. He doesn't have a lot of anti-air though, so you
Yeah, that
can't
can be
kill.
trouble against Hellbat drops.
Yeah, he needs like a Viking or two. You're going up to 5 factories, so this is good. You should really get like I say like a lot, wow. You should get a reactor on your starport. And then you can go into double tech lab. I find that I really enjoy 2 reactor a little bit more right now, unless you have a lot of gas.
Let me stop you for a second. You say 2 reactor, you mean 2 reactor factories.
Yeah, 2 reactor factories, because that gives you a lot of buffer on your widow mines. So once you're into really heavy positional play, it's great to get those more tech labs as you can if you have a lot of bases to defend, because it allows you to get out more siege tanks. But the fewer bases you have, the more vital gas is and the bigger role it plays. So you really need it for like Vikings, you need it for upgrades, you need it for sensor tower, you know, you need at least like 1 or 2 so you can see where drops are coming in from or attacks and be in a better position. So it's great to have this many tech labs, and I've used the style a lot and I still use it a lot. It's just that one of the things that I found easier so that you can get a lot of these things up, you know, like against a very aggressive player, I found that more Hellbats was actually easier to deal with all the aggression. Like the more siege tanks you get, the more defensive you're going to be, because you're going to be dumping all of your minerals into expansions. So you're constantly going to be trying to protect the expansions. It's like if I go for 4 tech labs, my goal is to get an early 4th. If I go for 2 tech labs, 2 reactors, I can be a little bit more mobile, and I can diversify myself a lot more. Like I can be more aggressive because I'll have more Vikings, so I don't have to worry about as much as Banshees or other Vikings, so I'll have air control. I won't quite have as many tanks, but I can really break positions because the Hellbat doesn't need to siege to do a lot of damage, and they soak a lot of damage, and that protects your tanks. You know what I mean?
I do.
So, the question really is, are you like a big defensive player or a big aggressive player? Also,
you know, I don't know that I have a style.
kind of like a mix.
Yeah.
Also, the less tech labs you have, the easier it is to throw in Thors if you're not going for Vikings. Like, because that saves you gas. So, if you can have you have a decent amount of anti-air. Right now, I would actually get a sensor tower here and a sensor tower here. This allows you to see big angles, and then widow mines spread out through the middle. And this allows you to, see an attack coming up front. And then you don't have to be as defensive and posturing because you'll always be able to see incoming drops. You can even float like a barracks up here and put a Viking right down here. Or even make an extra barracks if you have a lot of minerals, because being able to see where the drops come in advance will help you a lot. So really, one of the things you're lacking right now is looking at your base, is you don't know what's out there. So he could come in through this side and siege up your gas and do a lot of damage, or he could come in through here and you only have 1 siege tank or 2 siege tanks to kind of defend the ramp. You can push through, siege up, and completely deny your expansion. So you don't really have a way of seeing what he has. And if you look at his vision, that single Hellion that he has out there just lets him know when you push out. So he automatically knows I'm in danger, which is why. Yeah, so this is why he's not sieged. He's not worried at all because he knows when you're coming, and then he'll get into position.
Okay, I hadn't thought about that. That makes a lot of sense.
So let's go ahead and keep looking through here. If you do go for the 4 tech laps though, definitely get your gas geysers first when you are setting out your expansion. That's like gas is your biggest thing. Eventually, your goal is to get as many tanks as possible out as fast as you can, and then overpower him at some battle. Like once you're maxed out, you know your army will be stronger unless he has a lot of air. So the Widow Mines being sent out is good. The drop is good because it lets you keep an eye on him. And he decided to get some Vikings to help against that. So you're going for the aggressiveness here. This is okay, but it feels like he has... I don't know why it looks like he has more than you. Oh, you have more workers, so he actually does have more than you. More overall army. You have the same amount of siege tanks, but he has a lot more Hellions.
Alright, I know how this game ends now. It does not end well.
I like your positioning here. One of the things you could do from this location now is take these tanks and split them up here. So this gives you like a nice arc. He cannot attack in that direction, and you will see if he goes the other way. So maybe mix in a missile turret or two. One of the things about tank line contains is it takes a lot less tanks to defend than it does to overpower it. So one of the things he would have to do is take a lot of damage trying to overpower you from a great angle. So you want to like form an arc with your tanks outside of his base with missile turrets, confine him to like 3 or 4 bases, take an extra base or 2 for the gas, and tech up really fast to like battle cruisers, or you know, like you keep reinforcing this whole thing and make it so he can't move out, watch for drops, sensor towers, mass expand. And then what you can go from there is like any tech you want really, but battle cruisers and Ravens probably the best one, or Viking Raven, so you can never push out because you'll hunter seeker missile him every time he moves out. You can walk over you kind of now because your army isn't together. So that was the biggest thing. If your army was a little closer, you would have gotten a lot more damage up on his buffer, and he would have taken a lot more siege tank damage. So you probably could have gotten like 3 or 4 more shots off on each tank. Probably, you could actually, I think you might have been able to hold it. Like a tank or 2 remaining. But you're still in great position. Get rid of the Marines at this stage in the game. You have a lot of units trapped here.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. I did not even know that.
Yeah, the siege tanks and the Widow Mines. So the Widow Mines are something you could be spreading out right now. You don't really need them for drops as much. You could kind of like use them as a buffer. I like the Thors. I think you should drop this rock tower. I always do it just to make sure that you know, they can't just waltz in there with Hellions. Decent scan. I like that you're taking your 4th. You're oversaturated in your 3rd and 2nd base, but undersaturated in your main. So try to keep it at 16 workers per base for 4 bases, and then you want to really start building orbital commands. You can already start producing them off 3 bases, but once you're on 4, you really want to start getting to the key. I have 16 at each base. I'm going to make an orbital command 1 or 2 at a time, depending on how good the game is going. And then every time a base mines out, or mineral patches mine out, I'm just going to sacrifice the SCVs. And then, you know, that's kind of a good way to trade the SCVs for army supply. Because right now you're at about 82, and if you split it up a little bit better, it'd be a little bit more income. Looks like you're transferring some now, so that's good for you.
It's interesting. I've never really gotten to the point in any game where they're like, oh, I need to start suiciding workers for army supply.
Now would be a good point. Now would be a great point. Also, I don't like that you're putting a second command center here. Oh, sorry, here. You could, maybe if you're making it a planetary as well, but siege tanks are pretty good at taking down planetaries, you know, put it up here, I think would be best. And then your missile turrets over here, you can put one on the edge, very edge right here, and then one up top, and then one by these rocks, kind of close. Do you see what I'm talking about?
A little bit. There's a lot of pings going down. But
Sorry, so like, so where the medevac is now, you're gonna put one. You can put one where your missile turret is that's closest to the medevac, except higher up to the edge.
Okay.
And then your missile turret, the second one that's built, not the one that's building, but that's built, you can put it by the rock, but on the right side of the rock.
Got it.
And that'll stop a lot of drops.
So like the goal being, maybe stated more generally, that we're trying to kind of like reduce the amount of space that he can safely travel through.
Yeah. Also, because you didn't quite know where his army really was, he's able to get into a position where he now has the ability to send... Like, he can siege up, and you can't quite push in and break it without losing a lot more than him. So you can send his Hellbats and Hellions freely to any base you have. And, except, actually you can go around, to any base you have and really do a lot of damage. He decides to engage you, though, which you take out as buffer, which is okay. But here you're in a lot of crap. You need to get an army up here and then sandwich him. Thors are the best ones for the sandwich. You send them in first from the side. And yeah, sending some units around, that's a great move too. You can siege them up in a position here to where it's harder to break, to cut off reinforcements with the Widow Mines and the siege tank, so that'll definitely do some damage if you put them here. And then you do this around. He's able to kill a lot of workers, it seems, with those Hellbats. That helped you and hurt you a lot, because you have a lot of resources. But you're actually not utilizing all of your production quite as well as you could.
Yeah, that's probably just a side effect of, the pressure.
Yeah, that's fine.
We mere mortal players tend to screw up our macro when things go bad.
I do the same thing. I like the drop with the Widow Mines. I think even SCVs would have probably been more beneficial with the Marines you had in that bunker. And you drop them while you push in. So your attack got kind of deterred, and now it seems like he can, reinforce it really well. So that's exactly what he's doing here. So you need to come in from both sides. I like that you're moving up a little, but he'll be able to contain your army outside and then go crush it himself, He's actually not doing that. You did unsiege a few things at the wrong time, but that happens. So here he's unsieging. So he's doing exactly what I mentioned. He's trying to crush you from two sides, but he lost a little bit too much. And now you can just crush him. So, to break siege line contains, you want to come in more of like a crescent moon shape. You want to come in as many directions as you can. So your goal is to find his army, isolate it, and always make sure that it trades in efficiently. Even if you don't win the battle, make sure that it trades in efficiently. If you can get out of there, and do it, awesome. That's 70% of the time the better thing to do, unless you're trying to control space. And the more space you control, the more time it takes for him to break each location, and allowing you to reinforce others or throw down expansions. Your goal is to kind of like keep him busy, put the squeeze on him. If you have him in a contain, he'll be less likely to mass expand. He'll be less like, his primary goal is to break the contain. He has a lot of factories.
Yes, you do.
Doing pretty good. You had that extra base, so I think that's what's kind of keeping you in the game. That and your macro was superior for the longest time. You've got some workers to transfer from your second base, but that's not really, macro isn't really the biggest thing. I like the addition of the Widow Mines, but it is one problem. You've seen a lot of siege tanks. You want to throw in Widow Mines really well when he doesn't have too many, or the capability of getting too many, because at this stage in the game there's a lot of orbitals, so there's a lot of ability for scans on the Widow Mines. So they're really only good against a lot of tanks if you split them up and he doesn't have a Raven. This way you not only see where he's coming from, which is invaluable, but you can take some splash damage on his tanks, or take out a Hellion and splash damage all the Hellions or the Hellbats. So that's kind of what you want to do, but the more siege tanks he has, the more you want to shy away from Widow Mines. So you're doing good there, though, with keeping the Widow Mines up front. You don't actually quite... That's a lot of damage. So yeah.
Oh, heartbreak. One freaking...
One bench. So this is great, but you don't actually need this many units. Like, everything you just unsieged, those Hellbats, you can put those in a different direction. You can sit right there with that army, make like a missile turret or two, keep the Hellbats there, but get rid of the unsieged tanks and the Thor, and send them like around, and put a squeeze over here, and then if he tries to come down here and break it, you can head up to his base and put another squeeze. You move up closer. So your point is to contain him in different areas, and every time he breaks one contain, you move the other one more forward.
Oh, interesting.
So like by breaking this, he'd have to utilize his Banshee to hit your siege tanks, but you have a Thor. You'd have to come up the ramp, but you'll have like 8-10 siege tanks, so he'll be taking a lot of damage. He'd be in a great shape, and that'll really hurt him a lot more than it would hurt you. Like, does he push into this?
No.
No, you try to advance it. Okay.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake. So there are some situations where you really want to press it further. You can be like, I want to deliver the killing blow, and I'm guilty of that on occasion too. But the biggest thing you want is you want to limit the amount of bases he has. If you're always up in a base, you will always be able to trade more efficiently, and I mean you'll always be able to sacrifice more units, which means your position won't matter as much. And the more bases you have over him, you know, the more you deny his bases, the less he can tech change, and the more he has to stay to the same things, the less money he has to play with. Like you could tech change to anything. You're actually not making units right now, but you could tech change to anything. You have a lot of energy on your orbital commands. I assume these aren't hotkeyed. No, they're not.
Oh, they're not? Did I miss some of them?
These two right here, and you've got a lot of SAVs right here.
Oh, yeah.
So you're macro slipping a bit, but that's something personal to work on, you know. So you really want to put the squeeze on him and limit the amount of bases he's on, and always increase your gas intake, or make sure that you trade more efficiently.
Stop walking to siege lines.
Yeah. You can break siege lines, that's fine, but with this big of a siege line, it's difficult. You know, one of the best ways to break, if you know that there are this many siege tanks on the field, one of the best things to do is to regain air control and go for Ravens, because Ravens and Hunter Seeker Missile, it only takes 3 missiles to take out a siege tank, and if you put a Seeker Missile on one of those tanks right there in the clump, you take out 5 tanks. Because it takes so long to one siege. If he doesn't notice, within a second, he loses all 5 tanks for 300 Seeker missiles. So 3 Ravens, spend energy to kill 5 tanks. Way worth it.
Okay, so I'll work on air control once the number of tanks gets to this kind of ridiculous number.
Yeah, the more tanks he has, the more you want air control.
Okay.
And then the more air control he has, the more you want ground control to try to punish him. Because if he gets like a lot of Viking Raven, you can try to counterattack with like Mass Thor, Widowmine, because he'll have a lot less siege tanks, you know? So that's just the counters to each other.
But I guess the idea being, if he doesn't have as many bases, he can't switch from air to ground as many times as I can.
Exactly. So I mean, you're doing great. He's just finally getting an expo, and you have the ability to mine gas here. So that's always good. I do like the Widow Mines, but once again, I think you need to split them up a little bit more. You can do a lot of damage. Like, he scanned ahead, which is the problem there. But your armies basically walked past each other. Sorry, there's a lot of company over today.
Oh, sorry. I purposely worded topics like this.
I like that you're in his production facility. So, like right here, your mindset should be: I'm in his production facility. He cannot reinforce. You should automatically pull everything into your base and guard your production facility. That's like your biggest goal right now, is guard my production facility. Being at the bottom of the ramp allows him to surround you a little bit more. If he has to walk up the ramp, you know, that'll really funnel his units and make it so much easier for you.
Yeah, the production facility, that was definitely.
Yeah, this hurts him big time.
Yeah. The lack of air hurts me.
Yeah, that does hurt you a bit. One Thor would really help out.
Yeah, because that Banshee's on its last leg.
He's actually not pushing into your army here, so if you know that he's pulled some away and he doesn't have a lot there, like scan, and then move around the edge, and then come in like a moon shape and crush that army. That's one thing you could do to really get the advantage there. You're taking out all of his depots, which is beautiful because that again hurts his ability to reinforce. You could definitely gain some ground here because he's putting the squeeze on you. You know, if you can't move out and he gets this contain on you with all of his tanks, you'll almost never be able to because you'll need resources to move out, which you don't quite have, you know. So from here, one thing you can do is you're not going to walk down this ramp. You'll lose everything. Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's what I remember.
so what you want is to like go out here and force him into another position, but keep some tanks in the back sieged. So if he tries to like rush into your base, he takes a ton of damage. So you want to force him out of position, and then engage him if you can. Like create siege lines on your retreat path back, you know, because that's his only army. Once that army's gone, you win. Or you can do that. And that's why you don't want to do that.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
You actually had more army there. So, yeah, you know that was the wrong answer. So let's go back a little bit. Too far. So what I really want to take from here is that little move out. I want to show you a different way to handle that. Like specifically what I was referring to. So this guy is contained. Alright, so here what we're going to do is I'm going to take command. And I want you to just, we're going to use these units that we have, and we're going to play with them. And your goal is to keep me locked in my base. My goal is to break out, okay?
And I'm me and you're him?
I'm you, you're him.
Got it.
So let me go ahead and start this up. So my goal is to break out, and it could be difficult because tank lines are annoying, but your goal give me 1 second, hold on, I need to like hotkey some of this. Okay, now we're good. My goal is to break out. So a little bit of a mule drop to keep you busy. So I'm just moving away from your secret missile, and now I'm out. And what do you have to do? You have to either chase me or you have to come attack. So I can keep like some tanks here behind the bush, one tank up here, and I can use the rest of these units to take out your bases. So I have like a little bit of a contain. You could kind of crush it. You could move in. I didn't make any more units, but if I did, you know, you'd be kind of like what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't have a lot here.
Yeah, you don't have a lot there. There's not a lot you can pressure with. So now you can deny bases, and it's a little bit more of a base race, and your goal is to like find his production facilities and take him down, you know?
Yep.
Always hunt his production facilities. So, I actually forgot to leave like 1 or 2 tanks back. So
Yeah.
that's my mistake.
That's okay.
But yeah, you get the general idea.
I do.
Always attack where it's weakest.
Right. Don't walk into siege. I like that, so.
Never walk into siege lines. Unless you can completely and totally crush it.
Yeah, and I don't know what I was thinking because I was walking through a choke too. Well,
A little worse. Do you have any more examples of your playstyle? Is there maybe the Terran against Zerg matchup you want to touch up on?
let's see. I'm sure I could find one. Here's it.
Are you comfortable with that Terran against Terran game now? Like, do you feel like you understand more? You have different things to try that give you more options?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I have reams upon reams of notes.
Okay,
It's
definitely.
too bad Skype doesn't record conversations.
I think you can set it to. I don't know,
No.
but the conversation will be recorded. I mean, it's being recording right now.
Oh, okay.
Just in case I want to stream it or put it up on YouTube somewhere. I mean, there's a lot of people who have the exact same questions you do. So that's why I always ask that person, do you want it public or private? Because if it's public, it helps so many people. As a good example, I don't know if you see my YouTube, but you will see that the coachings have a lot of comments from what I remember. It's been a day or two since I've gone back and read them. But they have a lot of comments. They have a lot of feedback on people saying, "Oh, I had that issue." Or I'll have a person message me, "In your this coaching, you mentioned this. Well, what about if this?" So it even brings up more questions that people can answer. Kind of makes like a community pool, you know, like a classroom teacher thing. If you have a question to ask, and if it can be shared, it helps everyone.
Alright, well here's we can watch this one. It's not too long. I don't want to. It was only supposed to be an hour. I don't want to go too far.
We can go a little over. It doesn't matter.
Right, so here we got TvZ, 20 minutes. I do not know if it's a win or a loss.
All right, let's take
I
a
will
look.
say though that usually if it goes to this past like the 10-minute mark where those all-ins hit, I tend to win against Zerg
Mhm.
because Widow mines are just ridiculously OP.
I love Widowmines.
Me too.
I actually faced. I don't know what it is. I might have either been exhausted because I laddered for 14 hours and I was up for 24, or it might have been that the Zerg was really good and I just didn't know how to engage him. I think there's a trick to defeating Widow Mines, maybe. I don't know. I was half asleep, but it seems like there is a specific way to really shut down mass Widow Mine siege tank play from Zerg, and that's like Roachling Hydra, and the Zerglings will rush in and take all the shots, and then the Roach Hydra and Viper will do really good, I think. It was only in one game where I've ever had that issue, and it was my last game before I said, fuck it, I'm too tired.
I can't believe we played for 14 hours.
Oh, well, I was waiting for Grandmaster to open. It was supposed to open that morning, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just wait a little bit, and I'm going to start in half an hour, because it'll be the hour Grandmaster's going to open up. And it never opened. The whole time I was laddering. I was kind of pissed. And then it finally opened up. I tried to play one game, and then the server went down. And then North America... So I didn't get in, because... I'm not sure why. I guess the server was going down while I played my game. Because it let me finish and then it kicked me off, you know? And then I heard that North America opened up in like 2 hours. And then I played my first game and I was so tired I lost. I played my second game and I was like, I can't play, so I'm done. And I think I actually missed all the openings now. I have to try to fight up when, wait for people to drop out with bonus pool.
Like, if you don't mind my asking, is this like your job? What do you? I wouldn't even be able to stream for 14 hours. Like,
It was really tiring.
but like, is this like your primary source of income, or do you have like a?
No, my wife works.
Ah, I see.
That's the primary source of income. You see, there's like, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering this. So, my wife works, and that covers all the bills. But to be able to live comfortably, one of us has to have a part-time job. On top of my wife working. So right now, playing StarCraft, since we came to this phase where we realized, okay, we need a little bit of extra income, StarCraft was already kicking in. So she told me to try this for a little bit of more income, and it's almost close to the amount of money that we need every month to really live comfortably. Just not have to worry about bills.
Yeah, I do.
So that's kind of why I play StarCraft so much, is because it's close enough to where it's like a minor headache now and then, a little bit of better management, but follow your dreams.
That's cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'm happy to be able to help you out with that, because you're definitely helping me.
Well, I'm glad I can help you. Let's take a look here. I wish I didn't have to charge for lessons. See, if I had like Husky's YouTube fan base, and I could just make so much money off of YouTube, I would make every coaching free, because I love StarCraft, but
No, one day.
one day.
In the meantime, you gotta hustle.
Yeah. Let's take a look here.
So, like I said, I think this is a. Oh, I remember what happened in this game. This is based off your safe opening, because I like safe.
Okay.
Stuff
I like
required.
it too. It's actually, I played a lot of TvZs yesterday when I was really tired, and I was at probably the wrong time to fuck around and try new strategies. I lost like 20 games during the whole day, and I played like 30. So I was constantly trying new stuff, but I was just getting more and more like I couldn't think. So eventually, I just started to, I came back this morning and I started doing my safe openers, and I lost all my confidence yesterday, but I started doing my safe set builds that I already knew worked, and I started winning a lot more.
Let me ask you this, kind of like a more meta level. Like, how are you developing these builds? Like, do they just come about organically through your play? Do you see that certain things work? Or,
Here's a
Yeah.
good example. Terran against Birdhouse Mech is the hardest matchup in my opinion, in the entire game. For the Terran. A lot easier for the Protoss. The reason for this being is because Mech is immobile. Protoss got a lot more mobile stuff. They have Blink Stalker, they have Oracle, they have Stargate, they have Tempest, they have their own siege line breakers, you know? And Immortals, there's a lot more thing that can shut down Mech over anything else. Like there's a... Protoss has like 4 or 5 hard counters to Mech. But you can stop them all depending on how you scout. So there are phases of the game where I think, alright, and this is where I'm at right now. This is actually like what I'm thinking right now recently. I've been experimenting a lot today on stream. I actually lost like 3 or 4 games trying to figure this out on what is the most optimal way. I know Blink Stalker gives everyone the most issues. I really hate that strategy. I still think it's overpowered, but I can stop it as long as I prepare for it, but my goal is to find it more optimized. So with every build I make, I go, this works. Why? And how can I improve it? So once I release a build, I say, this is tested, I've perfected the strategy, I feel like this will bring any person to the next level, this beats the current metagame, I'm going for the next build. What beats how people are trying to counter me now? So once I perfect the strategy, I'll almost completely abandon it and work on the next one. Just trying, to improve different aspects of it. Because now I'm thinking, okay, my reactor, I tried double reactor, double tech lab. Gives me lots of Hellbats, and I'm thinking, this works great. This applies so much pressure, it's the safest thing I've seen, I like it a lot. It does a lot of damage, but then on some games I go, this army kind of crushed me a little bit. I made some mistakes, excuse me, and I start thinking, how can I control more space? And I go, Widowmine Siege Tank are the best space controllers for the Terran arsenal. So one of the things that I've been experimenting with is like, with the more spacious view, I go, how can I slow down any Protoss army? And what is my best inspiration? And how can I use what's worked? And the only really reference to that is Brood War. So what worked in Brood War? Vulture, spider mines, and missile turrets. So my idea has been going like putting a missile turret here, one here, one here, one here, major attack paths, a missile turret, get missile turret range, and put 2 or 3 widow mines around it. And this makes, if the Protoss A moves across the map, he flies his observer into the missile turret, he really has to focus, he'll just flat out lose it. And then he can't advance because there are widow mines there. He can walk over the widow mines, he'll take a lot of damage, and as long as widow mines kill something, they've pretty much paid for themselves, so it's really not too heavy. They're a little supply heavy to do this in too many locations. I wish there were one supply, but this really allows you to see where they're coming from, control more space. So I'm thinking, alright, widow mines seem to be one of the best things in this mech. You want to control space, so I'm going to try to phase out Hellbats and replace them with widow mines so I can do this type of strategy longer in the game. So all throughout the day I go, alright, I got these widow mines, I can control so much space, what's killing me? Blink Stalker. What counters Blink Stalker? Stimmed Marauders. So I've been opening up factory Stimmed Marauders, just one reactor factory, so I get 2 widow mines at a time, and I get Marauders with Stim, and this makes me almost 100% safe in the early game. But it has a hard time transitioning because I invest a lot of gas into Marauders and Stim. So it's kind of like, I take it one step at a time and I expand it. So a lot of the times when I play, after I've perfected a strategy, or after I've released a replay pack, after I've released the guide, you'll see me struggle for a few days because I'll be working on other things trying to find out what works best. So that's kind of like how I come up with these strategies. I recently thought to myself, I think widow mines are somehow need to be used more effectively. I think they're a bigger key, and this morning I spent a lot of time using them, as I mentioned, and now I'm thinking, you know what, widow mines are key, they're great, but I still need to have that frontal support because charge lot is still a problem against Mech with just widow mines. The widow mines are great at slowing down everything but charge lot and Tempest. So I decided maybe I'll do my widow mine thing, but also throw in Hellbats. So I'll get 2 reactors, 2 tech labs, and get maybe like a siege tank, Thor, double Hellbat, double widow mine. And this allows me to prepare for air transitions, allows me to control space, I have a buffer, and I have AoE, and then maybe skip the starport. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. That's really helpful.
But
Very interesting.
yeah, it's kind of it's fun actually to come up with these things. But you see me lose quite a few games that go, oh, that was a terrible strategy. And actually, earlier today, I came up with a really wonderful strategy that puts on a lot of pressure against Zerg, but is weak to roach bailing. So I've been tweaking it a little bit more closer to my safe strategy, and it's a little bit more aggressive. It does a little bit more Hellbat drops. It has the potential to go into Cloak Banshee. It has the potential to go into Mines. It lets me get a faster third. So that's what I'm working right now again on with the Terran against Zerg matchup. You'll see like an example of that in today's video Twitch archive. So
I'll definitely check that out.
I actually tell the Zerg I enjoy the strategy, and then I flat up die to his push. And then the next game, I adjusted it, and I held the person's push, and I was able to do a crap ton of damage. So it's like you always gotta like try out a build and adjust it depending on what you see, and then just keep going, just keep adjusting it, and you go, okay, this is what I've tested, this is what stops it, all these things stop it, here's how I can stop this much of it, and here's what I need to scout this by to stop this, you know? But yeah. Let's get back into this game. Because I think we've been in here for like 10-20 minutes.
Yeah.
So let's take a look. I like the opening. It looks like you're going for a siege tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I kept dying to roach onwards.
Very safe. I don't like quite all the Marines moving around the map. Just one is fine. I don't know how I feel about that tank positioning. It's not terrible. It's just if he breaks down this depot and he heads for your ramp, he just kills your tank along the way. If your tank is here, closer to your command center, it's farther away from your ramp, gives you more time to raise the wall, gives you more time for stuff to come up. You know, even if you move it to like right here under your command center, I guess the pings are terrible now because they're all close, but if you move it under your command center, he goes to your mineral line in the natural, and you just move the SCVs, and that brings him even farther away from your production facilities. You never want him to get to your production facilities. Anytime you can slow it down, the better.
Got it.
So let's take a look here. You can even throw down a second bunker. I usually do when I go Marine heavy, especially when I go triple command center, because income will be much higher. Yeah, siege tanks help so much with that.
Yeah, I found that when I was playing, the two wooden ones just weren't cutting it.
I like the Marine drop. I should do that more. That's something I might steal from you to test out how I feel about it. It seems
Might
solid.
work better done by someone who's actually good.
It's probably a good way to deny the third a little easier. So almost not even have to push in and deal damage. You definitely can, but maybe try to snipe the queen so it doesn't kill the medevac, and you split up a little bit too much here.
Yeah, that might have been a mistake.
Bailings, but you already have so many siege tanks. I feel like you're gonna win this game.
I do.
Didn't quite repair, but it's still good. Factory, you're going up to 5. You're going up to the 4th command center. The 4th one, I would make a planetary at your 3rd. Or make it a planetary at your 4th and just take a really greedy 3rd. So yeah, the Marines stop the expo. I like the Viking. Slow it down a little bit. You're playing great so far. I hate pointing out like macro mistakes because you work on those yourself. I like the triple reactor. Maybe get like widow mines from one of the reactors. This really helps you because with roaches you need a lot of splash damage. So like in Wings of Liberty, as a great example, is a Wings of Liberty, the counter to Mass Thor is roach. And the more siege tanks he has, the more mutas you have, and you try to overpower one or the other. The widow mine helps greatly negate that. It helps you deal with it a little bit better as a mech Terran, so you can't just be flat out hard countered. So, against Zerglings, you want Hellbats, which you have, but you don't need quite this many against the amount of Zerglings he has. So, like, looking at it, you can go, okay, I have a healthy number of siege tanks, I don't quite need this many Hellbats. If I have half of these gone, and I get them for Widow Mines, he's going to have problems engaging my tanks, because Hellbats will be in front. With Zerglings, and then roaches will also have a problem because, you have Widow Mines, and then if he gets like really fast 2-base Mutalisks, Widow Mines will still be able to do some damage to the Mutalisks, and I don't lose my whole army for free. So that's something you can try. I'm a really big fan of Widow Mines and Terran against Zerg matchup.
Yeah, me too. They're kind of silly. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned the triple reactor. That was a mistake, and I cursed the day they put the reactor hotkey right next to the Tech Lab hotkey. It was supposed to be double Tech Lab.
I like this, but your siege tanks are too clumped up. You need to split them up a little bit more. I don't like the drop, because you're right here. Maybe like a drop in the main, but I think you already saw that it was defended. No, you didn't. But if you know that he's on 2 bases, don't bother dropping, just push the front. Because it's not that hard to defend from that much, and you're dropping, like you're losing the Hellbats, dropping into there. You're good here, but you need like these siege tanks are good, but you need to drop 2 more down, really close to the sage over here, so you can hit anything coming down the ramp, and then 2 up top, so they're like kind of like a cluster. Do you win like right here, or no? If I'm
it's pretty much over. Right.
It's pretty much over. Okay, let's take a, because you can do anything from this stage and win the game. Look at your resources.
Yeah, I think so. This might not have been the best replay to choose.
That's fine. Let's switch this up a little bit so I can show you exactly what I mean by tank positioning. So just send an overlord over, or overseer, and move the roaches back a little bit. So ultimately, you want to like send the Hellbat out for buffer. 1 Hellbat kind of up the ramp. And then, you just sit in this position and you can see everything. Like, all your tanks are hitting anything that's on that ledge. So, not only that, but you're able to hit the natural. And that just makes it a lot easier. And then you can, like, pull 1 from the back. So there are just different ways to split up your tank, so he has to travel in between the tanks on different levels. And then one thing you can do here is, like, just move 1 up. And then anything attacking this front tank will get shelled by every single tank you have, except for this one in the back, so I could move this too. So once a siege tank isn't hitting your front one, you want to move it back. So like here, I move it right next to the ramp. Everything is so well covered. Doesn't that look a lot harder to break?
Yeah. Into these OP drones.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit better positioning that you could do on that location. I feel like that's one of the last things we could have learned here. Not too much else to go over. I mean,
I feel like that's been like a common theme, is like try to siege up like reinforcement lines and position the tanks a little better, just in general.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Is there's a timer because of Mutalisks, but you can't just rush in or you'll risk losing everything. So you have to be kind of like a fast push, but you don't want everything unsieged. You want at least half of your stuff sieged, minimum. And you always want to get into a better position to where you're pressuring, to where you're forcing him, I have to engage, I have to engage, I have to engage. You want to make them lose their cool. You want to, like one of the best things to do as a Zerg or Protoss player or even Terran players when they're shelling you is just remain calm and think of the best thing to do and then just do it. Don't be like, oh, I have to save this base. Be like, well, if he takes his base, how can I make the game equal? Or if I wait, can I crush this thing and then go up to his base and kill him? So it's really keeping cool on the push and defending the push.
Alright, well, yeah, that's great. I feel like we've definitely gone over our hour. I don't want to monopolize any more of your time.
It was fun. I definitely hope you were able to take a lot away from this. Like, a lot to think about. And
you'll know if I come up against you on ladder. You'll be like, oh, hey.
Hey, how you doing? Don't beat me too hard. Alright, well, it was nice meeting you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.